everybody. So I just wanted to bring you to this thing. And that was the most insane argument I ever heard. And I'm coming from Ireland, which the government are clearly insane in this country, with bicycle sheds, etc., etc. But this takes the biscuit now, to be totally honest with you. So this is from the mayor of Helsinki. So obviously we know the Finnish government are not the greatest people to be in at the moment compared to the last government. But it's quite insane. So this is to do with the Left Alliance in Finland. It's a lot. I could go into it for an hour, basically, describing, etc., these points. But basically from the Left Alliance, so they elected the new chairwoman of the Left Alliance, basically, in Finland. And that's not the issue, I suppose, here. But long story short, basically there was new. That's the ceremony. What's about? This is what the mayor of Helsinki is referencing here in the speech. And particularly this bit, and this is the thing I would rather draw, the basic criticism of the government. Basically, this is what I emphasise, and a lot of people emphasise, like the majority of people, everybody nearly who's seen this is saying the same thing, that this is literally criticising people's opinion to have an opinion of a government. And now it's apparently hate speech, which is insane if you think about it. Because imagine in Ireland, they want to bring hate speech in if you criticise anything at all in this country. If you criticise anybody from Timbuktu, etc., you're not allowed to do that in this country. That's what they wanted to bring in. They failed to do it so far. But long story short, if the Irish government follow this example, I wouldn't be able to say they're a bunch of crooks, etc., Because this is pretty much what he's saying here. That if you say anything against the current government in Finland, it's hate speech. You should be locked away, basically. Pretty much. And again, the most serious thing about this is obviously they limited the right to strike. The True Finns, the National Coalition Party, they limited the right to strike, etc., and obviously they don't want people to protest, so they're going to fine people. They want to fine people if they protest against the government. It seems like 1938 something, like it seems like 1930s. Particularly this bit, really rubs me the wrong way. Deeming this as hate speech, which to be totally honest, I agree with Ly Anderson on this, because they just generally want to destroy every part of society, to be totally honest. They seem like they're hell-bent and don't really care who gets in the way. They just want to destroy everything in their part. For whatever reason, who knows what their agenda is, really. Is it the World Economic Forum, etc., who knows, because it's just literally the most insane thing ever. And for literally saying it's hate speech, like just criticising the government, I don't really see anything that we could define as hate speech, but obviously Ly Anderson then responded. As you can see here, it's in Finnish, but you can see the translation. So basically, it was from the new chairperson at the Left Alliance. But as she says here, it's true. There's no lies in it. That it is true that the government is out to weaken the welfare state, etc., in Finland. It's a very true state of affairs. As someone that was there and heard from Finnish people myself, literally right in front of me, literally the only Finland on the street takes this. They think that this government, the current government that's in Finland, is the worst government you could ever get, basically. And that's saying a lot, but people are not too fond of the current Finnish government because it doesn't make any sense, half the stuff they're doing. The same as the Irish government. The Irish government are doing for a purpose. We all know what their agenda. So I don't know what the Finnish government's agenda is. Is it just a total anarchy, or what is it? To be totally honest, but criticising the government, as you see between the likes, only 470 people like the mayor of Helsinki's comment. You see Ly Anderson's, and especially the retweets, etc., too. It's scathing what people really take, because it really shows with hate speech, because it does show that criticism of the government, in his mind and in many other people's mind, probably in the True Finns, etc., it's hate speech, and they probably want to bring this into law. If you criticise the government's hate speech, we can lock you away, which is a very bad example, obviously, to be said, because the Irish government would be like, yeah, that's a great idea, we could do that to our people over here. But especially when you see it kind of been put out there, because it's an insane argument to say that's hate speech, criticising the government. As Ly Anderson, political criticism of the government's actions is not hate speech. The weakening of workers' conditions, it's not hate speech in my mind. If this is hate speech, long story short, because it is a bad example to be set, and especially because the leader of the True Finns is not the best person to be talking to about this. But long story short, the Finnish government be like, this is a great idea, we could lock people away for it if they criticise the government, because to be totally honest, they're hell-bent on shutting people up anyway. To be totally honest, in the current state of affairs, they are really hell-bent And again, I know people say I'm not Finnish bossing, etc. But after being there and hearing from Finnish people, etc., etc., they're not too fond of the people being cut, etc., etc., public services being cut. Issues that never have arisen in a long, long time in Finland. Take, for example, homelessness has gone up. And Finland was on track for a long, long time to be the first country in the world to eliminate homelessness, and it's starting to go up. And for the first time in probably donkey's years, people actually have to queue for food, etc., etc. This was unheard of. And particularly in my mind when I was growing up, you heard about Scandinavia. Well, not so much you could say Finland and Scandinavia and to the Nordic countries, etc., etc. You can argue about that till the cows come home, I suppose. But you heard about they have good lives in Scandinavia, the Nordic countries, Denmark, Norway, Sweden. They have good lives. They take care of each other. People are looked after, not like in this godforsaken country, Ireland, where people are just left to die on the side of the road, and the government steals every penny off you, because that's pretty much what Ireland is. And that's why we were brought up, and the majority of people in the Western world were brought up in Scandinavia and stuff. They treat you right, they look after each other, and the government actually cares. Well, the current Finnish government doesn't give a shit about anybody, to be done anything. So it makes sense. But I do agree with Lai Anderson, and fair play to her. And again, especially Lyon's obviously been a member of the European Parliament now. She have to say, obviously, she's spoken out very much against the current Finnish government. She's probably the main spokesman at the moment, speaking out against the Finnish government and their current policies, because half of them don't make any sense. They don't make any sense. Let's just cut everything. After a year there's been a year government over nearly 400 and something days at the moment, nearly 500. They've done huge cutbacks, etc., etc. But basically, long story short, nothing has changed. The debt, basically, the whole story of it was they wanted to limit the debt. They wanted to stop the debt from going up. Basically, the debt has gone up 5 folds, and nothing has changed. Basically, people are still suffering, and basically, they're going to cut everything in society to try and achieve zero debt. Which isn't going well, because again, as I said, it's going up. It's not going down. So, and it's insane. To see it's genuinely insane, because it doesn't make. I wouldn't mind if it achieved anything. It hasn't achieved anything. The only thing it has achieved is pain and suffering, and that's what needs to be said. But particularly this, as I say, it's the most insane argument I've ever heard about hate speech. Because let's be fair, I've heard the Irish government many times talk about it. Talk about hate, to bring in the hate speech bill, and not even that. Many other things the Irish government have said. It's total insanity. But long story short, this really takes the biscuit. Criticising the government. I wouldn't mind if she said something about immigrants or something like that. Maybe then you could argue, maybe. Because again, at the end of the day, that's what democracy is all about: free speech, criticising the government parties, etc. There isn't really such thing. But long story short, it's insane. But let me know what you think. I know I'm not a Finnish citizen, etc., etc. But obviously being there, etc., etc., I have very strong opinions on it. And seeing about different things, and having an invested interest in Finland, let's call it that. So it's important to speak out, and again, it's important to speak out when you see this and to call it out, because it's quite literally the most insane the most insane argument I've ever seen. That criticised the government as hate speech. So if the Irish government ever do this, I'm doomed. Just to say. But let me know what you think. Bye.